Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, as you have a friend in the media, which is myself. Any questions that you may have about this Carolina Panthers football team, I'm your go-to guy, whether it's about the game, whether it's about football 101, or whatever it may be. I'm here to help you answer those questions. And tonight, we're going to talk about this Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchup. Now, you see, I am in my hotel. I am not on my normal place, which is usually on the field post game. And let me tell you why. So I start setting up to do the show. I said, man, there's some dark clouds hanging around this Tampa Bay area. So let me check the forecast because, on the road today, I was just a one-man crew. Now, Patrick, our photographer, was there. As you're going to see some great, great photos from him in just a second. But VJ, normally our guy that sets up the camera and the equipment, all that stuff, can help set it up and break it down. He wasn't with me. Excuse me. So, Shaked, I'm going to tell you just right now, I'm not going to talk anything. You have been on repeat saying Evero, Evero. I got you, man. Take a second. Take a deep breath. It's all right. But I looked at the weather forecast, saw that storms were going to be coming right at 5 o'clock. And my show's up to an hour, so I said, no, I cannot risk damaging all this equipment trying to break it down and get out of here and then still set up to do another show. So nevertheless, kick the show till 7 o'clock, which is now. So we're going to go ahead and get into it with our normal format. We're going to go over some great photographs that Patrick captured from the game today. Then we're going to go over some videos from Coach speaking and inside the locker room. And then I'll go over some of my thoughts from the game today. And then tomorrow, we'll open up the phone line, so to say, for you all to call in, vent, ask a question, make a statement, whatever it may be. We'll certainly get into that tomorrow. That will be at 7 o'clock Eastern time as well. So final score in this game today, Carolina Panthers 14. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers way too much. 48 to 14. I mean, it was a lot of bad things that happened today to make that score 48 to 14. But I need to get me something to drink because I don't know why. It's like once I get on a show, my voice goes crazy. So hold on, let me get a little drink real quick. And while I'm at it, I got to say a big thank you to you guys. Continue to step up. Pre-game show went really well. We had a lot of donations come in to help us get closer to our goals for our GoFundMe. Man, I seriously don't know what goes on with my voice sometimes. When I go on it just goes all over the place. But yeah, pregame we had a lot of good support. Still short, so still will be pushing it. We got one more game next week in Atlanta, which I will be at, do our pregame show and postgame show. There's no way that the postgame show will be delayed next week because Atlanta has a dome. So I look forward to that. But let's go ahead. Let me thank all of my members for tuning in, joining me. I know this is a lot late. Is this a lot later or just about an hour later? I forget. Did that game go by fast? I don't know. That game was crazy. But nevertheless, let me go ahead and load this up. I forgot to do it right before we came on. We're going to load up all these photographs and go through this Bucs versus Carolina Panthers with some great photos coming up. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Comment. Whatever it is that you may want to do. Hopefully you'll do it all. And by the way, let me know, could you guys hear me during those last bits of conversation there? Because when I load up a bunch at once, it kind of comes crazy. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, this is Patrick Snyder doing his work. And I must add and must say, hey, guys, whether it's a good story, whether it's a bad story, our job is to tell the story. And that is what these photographs are going to do. So here you go. Xavier Legette on a pass that he did not catch. And we are absolutely going to talk about Xavier Legette because for me, yeah, he's a rookie. No, I'm not giving up on him, but no, I'm not going to give him an easy time. He is not playing too good of football right now. I know some people are comparing him to Devin Funchess. I don't know. I'm just going to say in a moment talking about Xavier Legette. He's not doing. Now, this guy right here, we got to do this right here for this guy. We got to give him his props and his round of applause. Adam Thielen, I said in the pregame show, man, will we see Adam Thielen cross 100 today? And he sure enough did. Adam Thielen is just on Twitter today. I was saying he's a dog. This guy just has a tenacity when he's on that football field that is rare. It's very rare, and it makes him successful. He channels all the haters and turns it always into good things. Here he is with one of his touchdown reception on the day. Adam Thielen looking good. And then we have Mike Boone here. Man, that running game today was very, very putrid. That's a throwback to my guy Andre Cassidy that used to be a co-host with me. That was one of his words. It was terrible. We didn't even have a chance. But here's a good photo of Boone in action here. Soon to be tackled by Whitehead and McAllister maybe. And here you go. This happened today. Not one time, not two times. It happened several times. And I'm not going to give Evero a pass. And I know people that are hating him right now are probably going to jump over all of this as me giving him a pass. But this guy has players on his team right now that would be nowhere near starting if it wasn't for so many injuries. So this was, I believe, Caleb Farley in for J.C. Horn, and he has the job. Let's be real now. He had the job of what? He had the job and task of covering a future Hall of Famer in Mike Evans, and that was a tall order. Didn't do too well. Here we got my man Jadeveon Clowney, who jumped off sides a couple of times today, but he was trying to get an edge. We're going to hear from Jadeveon here in a minute in the locker room interview, but Jadeveon Clowney here with a sack. I think this sack might have been – oh, no, this was a good sack. I think Ashawn Robinson had a sack that ended up being retracted. And, here we go again. He didn't pull this one in, Xavier Legette. And my guy Patrick captured it, and we're going to talk about it. Another touchdown here. This guy, I forget his exact name, McMillan or something. I'm sure I'm off on that, but a lot of things had to upset you today about this game. And this one here, nice Jordans, by the way. I just now noticed that. He has some nice Jordans on, matching the Buccaneers colors. But this guy already came into the game having 3 touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. So I'm pretty sure that during team meetings and reviewing tape, they're like, hey, watch out. Of course, we all got to watch out for Mike Evans. But this guy right here, he's sneaky. He's growing. He's a second-year player. But nevertheless, he got his touchdown today as well. And my man Bryce Young getting sacked today. And Bryce Young, thanks, T-Grain. Tristan McMillan. That's who was on the previous picture here. Tristan scoring. But my man Bryce Young walking off, a guy that lives deep in his faith and giving a little prayer symbol. I'm not sure if this is just him thinking to himself as he's walking off. His family's always at the game, saw his family pregame. Had a chance to say hello. So I don't know exactly who he may be looking at, but he is certainly walking off the field just in a little prayer thing. And then here's my man Xavier Legette. Xavier seems to be thinking, and it's not that I don't think Xavier's trying to figure things out or that he's trying to get better. He is, but I think very much in the same way that media was all over Tuba Hubbard several years ago. He heard it. He didn't like it. He busted his butt, and now he is who he is. Unfortunately, he's out for the rest of the season. But Xavier Legette needs to hear and know that his performance and his play is not where it needs to be. Bryce Young watching on toward the end of the game here. just seeing what's happening. So there you go. That is your photographs from today's game. See if we can do this right here. Hold on a second. That's not what I want to do. How about here? That's not what I want to do either. So we'll just go back to the screen here. All right, so there are your photographs from today. Hey, again, big shout-outs to our photographer, Patrick Snyder. If you loved our photos from the game, I always invite you to head on over to Instagram. We'll be posting photos from the game throughout the rest of the week. Some of you may not want to see it because some of you may just want to immediately flush this out. But for those that like the images that we capture, check them out on Instagram. And also, heads up, if you didn't know, during the game, we are the only other media outlet other than the Panthers organization themselves that will get you photographs during the game of all the big action. All right, so today we probably pumped out about a dozen photographs from the game. Sometimes, again, it may not be like the best picture. Like, why are they posting a picture of the Bucs scoring? Because they did, and that is the action. They scored all but one time today. So we can't tell the story if we're not telling the story. But again, big shout outs to Patrick. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some things that coaches said after the game today. We'll start with our head coach, Dave Canales. And you guys got some comments coming. I am definitely going to check them out. A lot of people seem to be upset with Evero. Some people said Adam Thielen had a good game. He did. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if I can do this correctly. Get into some audio from today. Let's see. Give me a second. That's not what we want to do. Those are some of my notes. Give me a second, guys. Thought I had this queued up properly. All right, we should be able to get it now. There we go. Let's go ahead and first hear from our guy, head coach Dave Canales. I didn't want to do that there. All right, we're going to go ahead and hear from Dave Canales.
To try to play our type of ball, and in all phases, we got outplayed, outcoached. I got to first give credit to the Bucs. They were on fire today, and they made it hard for us. We're 22% on third down. We couldn't stay out there offensively. Defensively, couldn't get off the field. And the big block punt for another touchdown is huge. So in all phases, it's stuff that we all got to carry together. And we got one more opportunity to finish. So we have to regroup. We have to have the discipline to go right back to work and finish on our terms.
So I just went through that whole spill with no sound. It was good too. It was really good. Sorry about that. The sound is now back. I'm not going to try to repeat that again. A little embarrassed, but nevertheless, we got Bryce Young. Bryce Young talking in the locker room.
Can you take me through those two deep on-air throws to Adam, the first one down the sideline and then the touchdown?
Yeah, just double move. Great job, Adam, creating separation there. And same thing on the deep one before the half. Just a great job of him winning on that one versus match coverage. I trust him just putting it out there for him to run underneath it, and a great job of him making a play.
I don't know if either one of y'all could have done any better on that. Those were almost perfect. Is that just chemistry that's kind of come with time between the two of you?
I mean, it's just just execution. It's something that we're always, just in this business, you're always chasing that execution. It's something where, I trust Adam completely, does a great job. He always has. So it's just relying on the execution.
So there was Bryce Young. Little clipping from him in the locker room. Thank you guys for letting me know about the audio being out. I hit the mute button so there wouldn't be an echo, and I forgot to unmute it. I don't know the full thing of what I said. I know some parts of it, but I'm sure it'll just naturally come back as I talk about the game. Sorry, but thank you guys. Sometimes the independent media, one-man band kind of shows, and that was the moment there. But you guys are always welcome to be my right hand, and I appreciate you letting me know that. We're now going to go to Jadeveon Clowney, who had a sack today, his post-game locker room chat.
Way how to finish the season. I just got to finish on my end. It's going to be about me coming to work, prepare like it's a playoff game or whatever game it may be, and come to try to win a game, end the season on a good note. That's what I'm going to do, and hold everybody else come to work and prepare like that. Got 1 week left. You still got to go out here and play. They paying us to play a game and not just play, try to win it. So that's what I'm going to do.
What, if anything, changed in the second half today that let them pull away?
Not just that they kept doing what they did the first half, and we was missing too many tackles. So I was like, on defense, we missed too many tackles, and we just want to execute when we needed to.
I got you. I know y'all thought I was about to talk with the button muted. But, man, I know people talked about missed tackles. I don't really feel like that was the biggest thing today. I just feel like it was some very big missed assignment. Like, I can't show live video from the game as a member of the media. I can't do that. That's reserved for the guys that pay billions of dollars for rights, TV rights and video rights after the game. But I promise you, from my vantage point watching that game today, it was the fact that when they would score a touchdown, it's like, is there anybody within like 7 yards of the guy catching a touchdown? That's something that was upsetting me. But that's also something that is inexperience. It's something that guys weren't communicating about switching or about people coming to their lanes and thinking that you got a safety help when you don't have it, or maybe you weren't supposed to have safety help and you were supposed to stay with the guy. But those are the things where I go back to saying, I think the part that I was muted, I was talking about the fact that they did make it a competitive game, and we're doing a lot to stay in it. When I say a lot, they were doing more than I thought they would. And I always want to just paint the context of, given the fact that you got guys out there that aren't first stringers, that aren't second stringers. You got guys out there that are like third, fourth, fifth that are playing, and they're playing in their first game in the NFL against guys that are playing, week 17. And they're going against some really good guys like Mike Evans, the Hall of Fame. That's a really tough assignment. I don't care who you are to be in the NFL, and you have not played, and then you get your first significant snaps, and that's against Mike Evans. Not a complete pass, just perspective for why I say some things the way that I do say them. Let's go ahead and go through one more. We got Xavier Woods that also spoke with the media after the game. So we're going to play this one clip from Xavier Woods, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at some stats from today, which definitely tell a picture that wasn't pretty.
Talk about this every week, the run defense, but this week the pass defense just kind of came up empty. What's your outlook on this defense at this point?
We weren't good today. That was point blank period in all aspects, running and passing. So, I mean, that's just bottom line. We weren't good today in no aspect of the game.
When was the last time you felt like this defense was working at a high level?
At a high level. Last week, the Spurs throughout last week. And then whether it was the Eagles or Kansas City, we had spurts where we felt like we was working at a high level. Even playing them the last time, the Bucs the last time at home. The first half we felt like we was playing to a high level too as well. But we haven't put a full game together yet.
You've been in this league for a really long time. You've played on a lot of defenses. When a team can't actually when a defense doesn't have a full game like that throughout an entire season, what do you make of that defense overall?
You get what you see. It reflects out there on the field. Whether we can't get stops, like today, we put our offense in a tough position, or whether it's at the end of the game in those two games, whether it be in Kansas City or the Bucs, we couldn't close it out. Not being able to put together a full game, because the NFL game is going to be a full game. Unlike today, usually games are close, one-score games, and so it's
I promise I won't talk while I'm muted again. But there you have Xavier Woods talking about this defense. You know, Shaquette, I feel like you yelling at me, man. Shaquette, I feel like you yelling at me. You telling me to fire Evero. You telling me, I don't know. Maybe you're not yelling. I just feel like you're yelling at me, and I'm just a journalist. I'm just telling you about the action. But I'm here with you. Maybe that's just Shaquette's way of expressing himself and his emotion. But those are interviews from Canales, Jadeveon, Bryce, and Xavier Woods after the loss today against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now we're going to take a look at these stats, which certainly tell a picture. And it was a bad game, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let me see if I got all these stats ready for you guys. Going to drag them on the screen one by one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passing from today. Bryce Young. How did we do today, Bryce? Bryce didn't do too bad. He was 15 of 28, 203 yards, 7.3 average. And look at this. This is what you got to like. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And this is what you don't like. Sacked 5 times. His passer rating was 107. So how did Bryce do today? He did okay. He did fine. This is a Bryce that could still be my franchise quarterback. Now, what about all those sacks? Well, you got to give a hat tip to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their defense, because several of those sacks took place when it was 3rd and long. And they knew they had an opportunity that Carolina, 3rd and long, every defense loves that, because they're going to try to throw the ball downfield so you can pin your ears back, send some pressure, get some heat on him, and potentially get the sack. And that happened, I want to say 3 out of those 5 times. Those had to be on 3rd and long type situations where they knew we had to throw. They overpowered us. We had guys missing. We didn't have Taylor Moton out there. I know Shaquette was yelling at me on Twitter about Josh Nijman being in his place. And, let's not forget, overall, the Tampa has a pretty decent defense, and even pass defense, and an even better run defense. But those are Bryce Young's numbers from the day. Helped greatly by my guy, Adam Thielen. Thank you, Shaquette, for saying you're not yelling at me, so now I can feel a little bit better. Let's go ahead and now take a look at our rushing stats from today, which were, whoa, whoa. So Raheem Blackshear, and this is another example of like Raheem Blackshear. He's not a rookie, but he's a guy that has not had significant time running the ball at the NFL level, especially this season. He had his first 3 carries last week, and he was the featured running back today against a very top 10 run allowed defense and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a tough assignment. Not saying that he should have just sucked at it, but perspective, that's a tough assignment. He had 8 carries for 20 yards, a 2.5-yard average. Mike Boone had 2 carries for 11 yards, had a 5.5-yard average. Overall, combined with these guys, we had a 3-yard average, and we had a whopping, sensational, incredible, I hope I never see again, 39 yards on the day. Wow. If you don't see Chuba Hubbard written all over those kind of results right there, a lack of Chuba Hubbard being the results for that, whew, that's pretty tough. And, you know, I felt like there was a very noticeable difference in how Raheem and Boone would run. Now, Boone had a few that he was able to break off. I don't think Raheem had a long run. Okay, they both managed to have one at one point. Raheem had an 8-yard, which means all the rest of his carries were 12, 7 carries for 12, which is awful. And then Boone had an 8-yard run. So what I really, really saw with those two, Chuba, man, I forget the exact stat, but Chuba's a leader in yards after contact, yards after that initial contact. To me, I put on the binoculars a few times and just watch these guys run, and they didn't run a lot. I also probably got a chance to have the binoculars on 3 times when the running backs were running, and they just seemed like they got the ball and it was like, here we go. It wasn't exactly timid, but it wasn't full of like confidence, I'm going to run you over, like aggressiveness that you see with Chuba Hubbard. Could have been because of, lack of experience. Could just be that's how they run, and that's why they're not starting running backs. I don't know, but that's what I saw. I'm like, man, this isn't going to work. These guys aren't running hard enough, fast enough, and to make a difference. It's certainly not comparable to what Chuba Hubbard was doing, but that's the results, man. A terrible, terrible 39 yards on the day. Let's go ahead and hold on. I'm going to stop on this count. We still should have rushed more, needed to stay on the field longer. That's a comment here from Mui. We still should have rushed more, needed to stay on the field longer. So let me see if I still have it. Let me see if I still have this graphic to share with you guys. Here you go. On the right-hand side, you will see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense. They are basically a top 10 in rushing yards allowed per game at 104, 10th best. And then they're in the middle with rushing yards allowed per attempt, 15th best. Now, you want to keep running the ball more. I don't know how much more. I mean, technically, yeah, you could have run a time or two here and there to run the ball more, but how much more would you have gotten out of that other than, you would have had the time of possession be a little bit better, which, by the way, was absolutely the worst that has been all season. Again, I don't think the running styles of Raheem Blackshear and Mike Boone is nowhere near that of the level of Chuba Hubbard, and we would have gotten much other than saying, we had another 45 seconds of possession. Running, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were scoring every single time. I forget at what point they didn't score, but they only did not score one time during the game. Otherwise, they scored every single time. So there you have it. But I appreciate the comment. Just because we disagree doesn't mean that, we're enemies. We're still friends. We're still having this debate and having this discussion, talking about this Carolina Panthers team. Let's continue to work through. I think we just did let's go ahead and take a look at the receiving. Hats off. Round of applause to my man. Those round of applause are for one Adam Thielen, Mr. what I'm going to call a true dog at that wide receiver position, having a great game. 5 catches, 110 yards, a 22-yard average, 2 touchdowns. including a 40-yarder. Adam Thielen being a boss, a guy that certainly could keep teaching these younger guys how to do it. Jalen Coker was second up. Jalen Coker caught everything that came his way. Good stuff from Jalen Coker today. Two catches for 35 yards. And then we're going to go ahead and park it right here and talk about this a little bit. Xavier Legette, 5 catches, 28 yards. Look at that average, man. He almost has the worst average on the team. A 5.6 yard average, a 10-yard long on 9 targets. 5 catches, 10 targets. That's 50%. So I think that Adam Thielen, that Xavier Legette is going to have an off season where he puts in a lot of work. He's still going to ride them horses. You know, I'm not a guy that thinks that he shouldn't have any fun, shouldn't separate, shouldn't, take a moment from it. But he should be talking to everybody that will spend some time talking with him and coaching him and working on his craft. I started having some tough feelings about Xavier. I don't know what week it was, but it was the Philadelphia game because he got hit pretty hard. I'm like, Xavier, you didn't go to protect yourself. You're a big guy. You just kind of caught it and just kind of stayed in that position when you know you're about to get contacted. You could have did this pretty easily. And then he had to drop that game. I'm like, man, you need to tighten up. Today, what was it? He had a play that was, I'll say a deep ball, as Bryce scrambled, and the way that he played it, it was like, what are you doing there, Xavier? Like, did you misjudge the ball? Like, it just didn't seem like the effort should have been was fluent enough to match that pass. It just seemed weird, almost like the Jatavian Sanders play in Philly where he just tried to backpedal. Now, Xavier didn't backpedal, but his foot, it just looked weird. It just looked funky, right? And then he had another play where it was more on the right hash, and this is going from my view in the press box, so I don't know how to describe this from you guys' view in the broadcast. It probably was the same view that you had for the broadcast, honestly, because a lot of that stuff is on the same side as the media sits. But it was along the right hash. He threw the ball. I'm not sure who was defending him, but it was kind of like a 50-50 ball a little bit, and it just seemed like Xavier was kind of like, excuse me, like how can I reach around you without making any contact you to get the ball? It did not seem like, and I forget what Xavier said at one point, what he calls it, like if the ball's in the air, that's my ball. I forget. To me, he said something. I can't remember the phrase, but he wasn't playing like if the ball's in the air, that's my ball. I'm going to get it. I'm this big body guy that can ride dollar bill around the world, and I'm bigger than most of these DBs. Got this big, like, use that body and get the ball. And he didn't do it. And to me, like the rest of the game, he just kind of played, I don't want to call it timid. Maybe it is timid, but it just was like he's not connected at this moment, right? That's the only way I can describe it because I have no idea why. Like, you know what the word is? That dog that Adam Thielen plays with, when you see him going to catch the ball, that fire. Now, you don't have to be exactly that way because everybody has different demeanors. Bryce Young has a different demeanor. But you got to have that, it's my ball, I'm going for this aggression. And I'm not seeing that from Xavier right now for whatever reason. And he needs to get better at it. I haven't lost faith in the guy. He's just a rookie, but he needs to get better at that for sure. Those are the receiving stats. Let's go ahead. We did the rushing stats. I think the only other stat we can do is defense. Oh, thank you. This is why I look. Jeremy Anderson. He said, my ball or nobody's ball. My ball or nobody else's ball. Man, I didn't label all these photographs right. But, Jeremy, does that look like my ball or nobody else's ball? The defender's obviously in front of him on this play, right? And so look at this picture where his contact is. He got about his hips, his defender's hips. He's not running through getting position on that guy aggressively to get that ball. He's waiting for that ball to come to him with his hands being underneath instead of kind of extend. Anyway, that's not my ball or nobody's ball. Let me see if I can find one more. That's Adam. And Adam, so Adam has the bucket catch going on right here, but that's fine. He has separation. You can do the bucket catch when you have that kind of separation. I'm trying to see if I can find this other Xavier picture here because I know I got one more. Pardon me while I try to go through these images quickly to find. Oh, man, I'm not going to find it. Let me see. He didn't catch this right here. That ball's heading to the ground. Anyway, my ball or nobody's ball, that was not what I was seeing today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the defensive stats today. And let's give some credit to Chandler Wooten, leading in tackles today. 14 tackles. Xavier Woods, this is not so good because he's a safety back there. 12 tackles. Damani Richardson, I heard somebody say he had a good game. 7 tackles. But, these stats right here aren't going to tell too much what happened. The big thing that happened with this defense today was that the assignments were missed. The communication was poor. And Mike Evans and I believe it's McMillan, I know you guys helped me with it earlier, they were too much. They were too much. And the missed tackles, to me, that wasn't that bad of a deal. Now, it was bad, but to me the bigger deal, the most significant thing was the amount of space that these wide receivers had, especially when scoring the ball. A few things. Now, I usually don't go into the stats too much of the other team. I don't have the screen graphics for you guys today. But let's talk about actually, I might have one other thing. Let's talk about what Baker Mayfield did today. He had 359 yards passing, 359. They also had over 200 yards rushing. I don't know exactly. I'm going to say you can't quote me on this, but I feel like this is the 4th straight game where we've had over 200 yards rushing. But again, we know the defense is bad. I said it pregame. Keys, turnovers, neutral or winning. Now, they were neutral there. And, stopping them sometimes. But mostly with the offense having to keep up, and the offense wasn't able to keep up. Because the defense is going to be bad. Over 500 yards passing today. And, there's lots of bad things going on. But you know what? Knock on wood, this is not like last year with Frank Wright, where you could say every game there was like a new stat about how bad we are. This is the worst this is the worst that, this is the worst this. I think I got 2 stats about things being bad to share with you guys from today. Let's see if I can find them quickly. Carolina Panthers have surrendered the most points in franchise history. And this was around the half today, this stat. The Carolina Panthers had surrendered the most points with 475 with 6 quarters remaining. Obviously, the Bucs continue to score, so I'm sure that number is closer to the 500 mark right now. But, yeah, most points allowed in franchise history. The Bucs' 337 first-half yards are the second most by a Carolina Panther opponent in the last 25 years. The New Orleans Saints had 360 in one game. Yeah, so it's 200-plus in 4 straight games, and that second half was just terrible. I think I got one more stat screen that I want to share with you guys to just paint a picture. Woo! Let's see, do I have this? Let's see if this is it. Yeah, so let's take a look at this one right here. Just shows again how bad this game was. We had 13 first downs. They had 33. They had more than twice as many first downs as the Carolina Panthers had. Our third down efficiency, we only made it twice, 22%. They made it 10 out of 14 times for 71%. Total net yards, we had 204. So we had about as many yards rushing as they had, Tampa Bay had rushing, as our total. They had 551. What's another stat that sticks out here? Baker, Baker had some good weapons. He had twice as many yards per completion as we had. And I think there's another stat that I can share with you guys. Again, this one won't be on the screen, but Baker Mayfield had 5 incompletions. So check this out. You ready for it? You ready for it? Baker Mayfield had as many touchdown passes as he had incompletions. Baker Mayfield had as many touchdown passes as he had incompletions. 5 touchdown passes on the day, 5 incompletions. Completed 27. That's crazy. That's crazy. Not a lot of good from there. And time of possession today was absolutely horrendous. Time of possession, anybody want to guess what it was? You guys may have heard it at this point since the game has been concluded for a minute. Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the ball for 41 minutes and 11 seconds. Your Carolina Panthers had the ball for 18 minutes, 49 seconds. They had the ball more than twice as much as the Carolina Panthers. More than twice as much. 41 minutes is how much time they had the ball. How many plays did they run compared to us? We ran 46. They ran 74. Yeah, so we could just continue to talk about this, and it would be, just, kicking the man while he's down, so to say. One other thing we'll talk about before we get out of here just for a second is Eddy Piñeiro. Now, he didn't miss an extra point today, but he did miss a field goal. Now, it wasn't a gimme. I think it was 53 yards that field goal attempt was. So it wasn't like an absolute gimme. He had plenty of leg on it, though, and just missed it to the left. Eddy Piñeiro, ever since he overtook, I believe, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens for the most accurate kicker. And when that happened, I said, hey, let's put some perspective and context around it. Tucker's kicked the ball way more times than Eddy has. Like, I forget the number at this point, but it was like a lot more. It wasn't even close. And so I said, so he has a long way to go to be known as the consistent kicker that I believe Tucker is. Nevertheless, he missed that kick today, 53 yards. I feel like he's missed a kick. How many straight games? We're gonna end on this bad stat here. But do you guys think that Eddy should come back? Do you think that he should come back but have kicking competition? He has an expiring contract, so that makes things interesting. He certainly doesn't have the leverage that he was trying to get this offseason that he would have right now about, hey, I'm this sensational kicker. Let's see if I can quickly figure out Eddy's stats. So he missed the kick today. And let's see. And he made all of his field goals. I can't tell if he made all of his extra points. Field goals made 3 extra points. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking at something that's going to tell me about the extra points that he's missed. Let's look at the Cowboys game. And where's it at? Yeah, I'm going to look in one other spot because I'm not able to really easily see on the screen here about his extra points missed. So I'm going to look right here for a second. Where is it? Here we go. Kicks. All right, so yeah, this will probably be able to get me there. So today he missed the field goal, made both his extra points. So that's one game. Let's look at last week. Last week, he missed an extra point. So that's 2 weeks that Eddy's missing something. Let's go back another week. He was perfect that game, so he made one. We'll just go back one more game. Against the Eagles. So 3 out of 4 games he's been missing. Let's go back one more. So far it's 3 out of 4. And was that our bye week? No, I didn't think that was our bye week. 3 out of 4. 4 out of 5. He missed 2 field goals when we played Tampa the last time in Charlotte and went in that game in overtime. Lost that game in overtime. So that's 4 out of 5. Let's see how far we can go back with Eddy. So we'll stop there. 4 out of the past 5 games, Eddy Piñeiro has missed several extra points and has missed several field goals. 4 out of the past 5 games. That's 80% of the recent games. 80% of the last 5 games he's been missing. I think Eddy, I forgot to think about the fact that he has this contract situation. So I say give him a new contract if you can. So first it's going to be like, can they come to numbers on the contract? Will Eddy be up here and we're down here? So if that happens, then it doesn't work. But if we do come to numbers on terms with Eddy, I still say that you're going to bring a kicker in here to compete with him. And for that reason, I say, well, we may not have Eddy Piñeiro back. Yeah. That's just me thinking out loud, live show. I don't know if we'll have him back because I don't know if we're going to give him the money that he wants. And then if he gets offended during that time, then he could be like, forget it. I don't even want to be here anymore. You guys, I don't feel like you guys valued me enough last year where I had to stand out. And, now you're definitely going to lowball me because I missed some kicks. So, yeah, I feel like Eddy Piñeiro returning back to the Carolina Panthers next year is not a slam dunk. It's not a guaranteed thing. So, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, had to do it tonight at the hotel because of the rain that came in or was coming in that didn't allow me to do it at 5 o'clock from the stadium, which I usually like to do. But had to make sure, man, the people do what I need to do in order to get these shows out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Tomorrow, we'll be back at it. We'll have the show where you guys can call in. Love for everybody to call in, whether you have an event, a question, whatever it may be. I love a chance to interact and meet with you all as well, so I hope that you'll do that. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, that'll take care of the show for tonight, live from Tampa, Florida. I'm Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.